Okay, so I want to make this video about a few things. Okay, so how I healed my mental health. What do I mean by that? How at first I accidentally was working on my mental health. How at first I accidentally started getting in shape. And how I actually got in shape. I just want to talk about a lot. So, the shamanic journey I went on, it's all connected. So, 10 years ago, I was this gangster. Well, 11 years ago, I was this gangster thug dude. Never thought about it. That's just who I was. I had this studio. I recorded other people's music. I would rob people. I would, I don't know how to explain it. I was that guy. Um, but then I did DMT, and a few trips later, I started looking at myself and not necessarily liking what I seen. Like, I was already before, like at 14, I got sent away for armed robbery, but I got out and I didn't change. I just didn't rob stores. I started robbing people and started doing this thing. So as I kind of got out of that, I smoked DMT and I started my shamanic journey. But I didn't look at it like I was gonna heal my mental health, or like I was gonna get in shape, or like I was gonna I I don't know, I would listen to Ralph Smart sometimes, so Infinite Waters. So I would hear him say, become your greatest version or whatever. And I started thinking to myself, while I'm on the shamanic journey, smoking DMT, coming down, looking at myself, realizing I am not my greatest version. I am not even me. I was somebody who I thought I had to be. I thought, well, I'm black, I'm tatted up, I'm supposed to be this gangster dude. I wanted to make music, so I thought I'm black. I'm supposed to rap. I'm supposed to only do hip hop. I'm supposed to only this is all part of healing mental health. I had no idea, but because I was on the shamanic journey, I looked at it shamanically. So I was always just relating it back to DMT. I learned different meditation techniques and different focus techniques, but only for DMT. It was only so I could smoke DMT, NN-DMT, and it was only so I could smoke it and be able to handle it. Because some DMT trips are so intense, they're more traumatizing than anything you can experience in the human world, right? Anything you can experience on Earth. There's some points of DMT that are way more traumatizing. Because I would smoke DMT. And I figured out different methods to actually get a lot in at one time. And for me, it was just all about learning that. I started learning information because I wanted to learn about the history of DMT. Learned about shamanism, learned about ayahuasca, learned about everything, learned about all of this stuff. But then started realizing we're not in the same world that the shamans were in, or at least I'm not. Started realizing that my shamanic journey is different. That's why I call it a modern shamanic journey. Sorry, I had to pause it real quick. But so when I realized that my journey is going to be different, that's when it became a journey of self. This is why it ties into mental health in the future. In about 5 minutes, I'll probably explain how it ties in, because the shamanic journey, I was on this journey, I was learning different meditation techniques to be able to handle it, and learning the history and learning all these different things, learning different breathing techniques. I started jogging. I started jogging in extreme conditions. So I would jog in 90-degree weather. Sometimes I would jog in, if it was the winter, I would jog in -7-degree weather, right? But I wasn't doing these things consciously thinking I'm jogging because I want to get in shape. I wasn't to me, it was all tied into my modern shamanic journey. That in my mind, I'm like, well, this is just part of the journey for me. Like, I wanted to put myself through intense normal experiences so I could handle the intense DMT experience a little better. And the more issues I had in the normal world, the more it was just like, well, the DMT thing's easy. But along this journey of me on this journey, I looked at myself like, okay, I don't want to be this gangster thug dude because that's not who I was. Coming down, realizing like, oh, well, that's who I think I have to be, but then I feel like I'm stuck because to not be that felt so uncomfortable. So then it almost caused more mental health issues, but they're not really mental health issues. This is life, right? It's just life. So like, as I'm on this journey, the shamanic journey, obviously you trip enough, you're going to see, well, I don't have to be this gangster dude robbing people. And if you still are that gangster dude robbing people, you're not going to feel good about it. So obviously you're going to then get depressed or get anxious or whatever because you don't feel good about being who you are. Or maybe you don't feel good because you think you have to be something, so you act a certain way, but you don't have to be anything. It's better to just be. But at the point of that, if like, I don't know, like 6 years ago, when I was only like, 4 years into the journey, I looked at it like, if I was just to be, to me it felt more comfortable to just be that gangster thug dude. So like, because it felt more comfortable to be what I have always been. And I was in this transition of like, I don't have to be that. And who do I want to be? And I started this thing to become my greatest version, slowly working on myself. But it was all tied into the shamanic journey. I tried 30 different plants and herbs, but that was only so like I could find the 5 to 10 plants that I'm going to use for the rest of my life. Like, I guess I've always just looked at this thing shamanically, like, with everything I do. Like, the molecules I use, I'm like, well, I know myself. So, like, my issues were going to be different than anyone else's issues. So, my issue is when I'm sober, I'm too hyper. I have too much natural energy, but also because I used to be a gangster thug dude for basically the whole time, I still have this. I don't know. It's some people call it aggression, but I don't feel like I'm aggressive. Because in my head I'm at peace. Even when I'm hype as fuck, I'm still at peace because that's just how I am sober. So I use plants like THC, cannabis, motherwort. Like the reason why motherwort is one of my favorite herbs is because it's a calming herb, but it calms me down without getting me like extremely high. I mean, it can at a high dose, but like it's a calming thing, and I like calming herbs because that's what I need. But if someone who is sober is naturally calm when they're sober, they might need some more energetic herbs. But you'll never know unless you've tried enough herbs. And like, that's the shamanic journey. So that's what I was doing on the shamanic journey. I wasn't just smoking DMT and learning how to travel psychedelics and all this. I was learning the different plants and herbs that I was going to adapt into my life. And by doing this though, it started changing me because I started changing what I was doing. Like 12 years ago when I was that gangster thug dude, that dude was not trying herbs. He was just smoking weed. And he wasn't thinking about it in that way. He was just getting high to get high. But that was me. But like, when I started looking at it more shamanically, things started changing. Or I started changing. But it was uncomfortable. So then, as it was uncomfortable to change, because change is uncomfortable, like, or at least me, I started self-harming. Depression got worse, anxiety got worse, all those problems got worse. Because when I was that gangster thug dude, I might have had a little anxiety, I might have been a little depressed, I might have had extreme anger issues, but I only had anger issues because I was actually lost and depressed because I was not myself. But that gangster dude never thought about it. So it didn't bother him. He just smoked weed, did his thing, made music, was the thug dude, robbed people. But I bet he felt better because he didn't think about it. But as soon as I started thinking about it, obviously you're not going to feel good. About, well, oh, I robbed people. Like, I put a gun to this chick's window in the back. The chick was pregnant, bro. Like I've done shit like that. And me and my dude used to laugh about it. Ha ha ha. That shit's not fucking funny, bro. Like, that's horrible. So when I started actually looking at what I have done, I'm like, bro, obviously I got depressed. Obviously I started getting more anxious. Obviously I started cutting myself. Because I'm like, that's who I was. Because that's who I thought I had to be. And that's crazy. Like, I don't know how, like, it's so crazy. But then when you're going through this psychedelic thing and you're on this journey and you're figuring all this out, all of your homies and everyone around you is going to think you're crazy. Because you have been this gangster thug this whole time, so that's who they think you are. But you know that at that point, at least I knew that's not who I wanted to be. I don't give a fuck if that's who I was. I was like, that's not who I want to be. So, but then I started self-harming because the pain got so worse. There's nothing I could do about it, whatever the fuck. So I started just cutting myself. I have a bunch of scars on my thighs that I'll never get rid of. Because, like, I don't know. I just had nothing. I couldn't do anything. I felt like I couldn't be the gangster anymore. And I couldn't be the person I wanted to be because I wasn't quite there yet. So I was stuck in this middle of, I'm no longer that gangster and I can't go back to that because it wouldn't feel comfortable anymore. And I was in a place that felt like, well, this isn't comfortable either. So I was uncomfortable either way. Growth or going backwards. They were both uncomfortable at that point. So at that point, I just started self-harming and I said, fuck this, whatever. But the thing was, things were kind of okay because the problems were all internal because I was on this thing dealing with my own, it was mental. I was removing the N-word from my vocabulary. I was removing like different ways of thinking. I was stopped robbing people. I started analyzing and being self-aware of the things that I have done and the thoughts that I think and why I think them and all of this shit. But I had a girlfriend, right? I had normal life. I worked a job like at this pizza place for 4 years. So like, I don't know. I was normal kind of like, but I was normal when I was that gangster thug dude that worked the job at the pizza place. I was normal when I was that gangster thug dude that made music and this and that because that's who I was supposed to be. But that's what I thought, but that's also what other people thought. Like, so when I went down the shamanic journey, I just started looking crazy because they're like, oh, you can't go down the shamanic journey. That's what they did back in the day in South America or back in the day in North America or back in the day, like, but they didn't understand that I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I got the calling and I had to follow it. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it. But I didn't look at it like I was going to heal my mental health or like I was going to get in shape or like, or any of that. I don't know. Until 2 years ago. Originally, I'm just on the psychedelic journey, doing it, traveling, learning how to talk to different entities, learning how to meditate, learning how to travel dimensions, learning how to silence my mind just for the psychedelics, learning how to travel and learning all the different plants and herbs that I needed to, like, I don't know how to explain it, but that was just the thing. But I didn't think about the fact that that would improve me, that like I would get something from doing that, but I didn't think about it in that way. I didn't think about that I'm gonna get something eventually from not being that thug anymore. If I could just make it past that point of being the uncomfortable, right? So I've made it to that point where it's uncomfortable either way, so I just started going forward no matter what. Because no matter what, it's going to be uncomfortable. Because if I sit down and then try to be comfortable, it's going to eventually get uncomfortable with settling for who I'm not. So I just kept on the journey, right? But I had a good relationship. I then fell in real love. Like I had real love. Like, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I had real love. But yet, when I found the real love, I was already like self-harming. I was already depressed, anxious. I was already like I was basically in that point of I wanted to be who I actually am, but I was still slightly not who I actually am. So, meaning like who I actually am is not going to be self-harming. Who I actually am is not going to be doing that. Like, so I was still not in actual shape because I didn't think about it. I just jogged sometimes and I did push-ups because I thought like these are like just I wanted to be slightly healthy because I wanted to be on the shamanic journey for a long time. So I'm like, well, my body should be in somewhat shape, right? But not really. I didn't think about it. But then when the girl left me, right, I had love, everything was great, but then things were not great because like, you know, like I have my flaws and whatever, and I understand life. So I get it. So she leaves. I'm alone for the first time, and like I sleep alone for the first time. I then, because I have worked on the shamanic journey for 8 years before that point, I then looked at it shamanically, but yet the breakup made me look at it from a grounded point of view. I started looking at it like everyone else does. Like, oh, the breakup happened because, well, I guess a lot of people don't look at it this way. That was the shamanic thing, where I had the ability to look at it like, well, the breakup happened because of this. It's my fault, right? I get it. I get my flaws. But I also understand her flaws. Like, it's not 100% my fault, but the majority of it is my fault. I always put blame on me for my life. That's how it is. But I learned that from my DMT experiences, to always put the blame on me because it's me. My life, my responsibility. My mind, my responsibility. So with DMT, I looked at it like, I'm this gangster thug dude and I could blame the world and say it's the world's fault why I became that. I thought I had to be that because of them. And no. It's my mind, my responsibility. So it was my responsibility to fix. So that's why I went to fix it. But fixing, when you change who you are, right? That gangster thug dude created a life. Like, he had a life that he created, and I was in that life. So when I became the person I am today, who I actually am, the life that gangster thug dude created crashed. That's why when people have a hard time changing and becoming who they were meant to be, because that would mean that who they think they are, that person created a life, so your life will fall apart if you change that person. So, and then you're going to have to create a new life, right? That's just how it is. Because the new person you are will have different thoughts, different ideas, different whatever, and that person will create a new life. But that person is more the real you. I think I guess I look at it from a shamanic perspective, but I started looking at mental health and physical health normally 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, this whole time I've been working on this, it's just now I can take it seriously. So like I've been jogging slightly and doing push-ups, once a while. I would do like 50 push-ups and but I just didn't think about it and I didn't take it seriously. So then 2 years ago, I took working out seriously and I started working out every week. When I went through the breakup and the girl left me and I'm there alone for the first time, because I haven't really been single since I was a teenager. I've always kind of had a girl along the way, so I don't know, it's just how it was. So I didn't even think about it. It's just how it was to me. I didn't think about it. So when I then didn't have the girl and I'm just there by myself, I'm like, I need to work on myself. So then I didn't even go to see my mother. Like, I didn't go to my mother's house for 3 months, the first 3 months of going through the breakup, because I looked at everything from a shamanic perspective at that point. Everything, like life itself, from the time you're born until the time you die, is a psychedelic trip. It is the shamanic journey itself. Like, it's all the same thing. So when I would smoke DMT, I would have the whole thing, birth to death, inside of the DMT trip. Like all the lessons of learning how to meditate, which will then help your mind. Learning that you should probably get in shape because then it'll help it'll help you be a better shamanic person. Like, it takes, you got to be in somewhat shape to be able to try all these different plants and herbs, to go on these different hikes. Like when you're going on hikes just to connect with Mother Nature, you're also getting in shape. Like, but I looked at it shamanically. I didn't look at it like I'm going to get in shape. That's why I'm going on a hike, because that's what most people do. Most people go on hikes because they know it's good for them and it'll get them in shape. Most people go for a jog because they know it'll get them in shape. Most people work out and do push-ups because they know it'll get them in shape. But I didn't look at it that way. I just wanted to be able to handle the shamanic journey. Like, I was on this journey of destroying who I thought I was. Like, I thought I was this gangster dude. So, like, I had to destroy that person, but that destroyed me. And that was very painful. I started self-harming and all this other shit. But then when the girl left, I told myself I can never self-harm again. And then I started focusing on getting in shape for real. Like, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to stop looking at it shamanically, and I'm just going to get in shape. I started, like, looking at my mental health, like, okay, now that I'm no longer that gangster thug dude and I'm me, now I need to heal my mental health. Because if I said that when I was that gangster thug dude, I wouldn't have healed my mental health. I would have healed that gangster thug dude's mental health. And what he needed to heal is different, because he would have said he needed a different thing. He wouldn't have said I needed to not be a gangster. He would have just said he needs to stop being angry. Like, the gangster thug that I used to be was just angry. So him healing his mental health meant just getting rid of his, anger issues. Me healing my mental health means a lot more than just healing my anger issue. It meant becoming me, and now that I am me, now I can work on different things. So then I got in shape, I healed my mental health, I'm working on my business stuff and music stuff, and learning different things about money to fix my relationship with money and my finances. Like, I'm working on life in that way. But all of it together is just life. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just life. So, like, I don't know. Life is this weird thing, or at least to me, because I look at it shamanically, but like, I guess I'm just healing my mental health now, and like I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been in, and I don't like to brag when I say like, oh, I've never been to a gym, I've never done any testosterone stuff or steroids or anything like that, but like, it's just true because I never looked at it. I didn't think about getting in shape. I was just jogging and doing push-ups because, I don't know, it just became part of life. I don't know. It was just part of my shamanic journey to me. But now I started working out for real, and I do all at home workouts, but it's because I don't want to get big. I don't care about that, really. I mean, I'm getting bigger, but I don't care about it in that way. Like, I don't know, I just wanted to heal. So that's why I worked on my mental health, because I was working on my mind anyways for 8 years. So the past 2 years, I started working on my mental health in like how do I heal my anxiety for real? How do I heal my depression for real? How do I stop self-harming for real? How do I learn how to transmute the energy for real? So now it's like, when I'm sad, I just make a sad song. When I'm upset, I'll maybe work out, whatever. Like, you have to find the different techniques and tools and plants and herbs and molecules and things and practices that work best for you. That's how I look at healing. And like, because that's how I healed. is I figured out all this shit, and it took me 10 years. It's a long journey, a long process. But I looked at the shamanic journey as I'm doing this for the rest of my life. There is no ending. The ending is my death. So, like, I'm just doing this shit for the rest of my life. I'm going to continue working out for the rest of my life. I'm going to continue meditating for the rest of my life. I'm going to continue this shamanic journey for the rest of my life. Like, I don't know. I'm going to continue whenever I get sad. I'm going to make sad music because I'm able to scar the beat with my sadness so the sadness doesn't have to sit inside of me. And if the sadness doesn't sit inside of me, then I won't get anxiety. And I don't get anxiety if I don't hold on to things that are not me. And if I don't play a character that's not me, I now understand me. And it starts with self-awareness, and it starts with all these different things. It's a long fucking process, but that's why I can say now, I'm like, well, I healed my mental health issues. But that does not mean that I don't have issues. I healed the mental health issues that were holding me back from being me. Like, I feel the way I want to feel for the most part. Like, obviously when something goes wrong, I feel a little irritated about it. But it's very unhealthy if something goes wrong in your life and you don't feel irritated about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because we've been taught to hold back, but, like, obviously don't over-express and don't whatever. But it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel whatever. But if you hold on to things, that's what causes anxiety, depression, and just feeling like you're not yourself and all this other shit. Because, like, I don't know, it's just hard, I guess. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I only healed because I was on this shamanic journey, and then when I started looking at it, I was like, now I can actually work on healing. But healing is, in general, like a 5 to 10 year process. Like, it's going to take 5 to 10 years to get from point A to point B, and in the middle of it, it's going to suck. Because it just sucks. It sucks to work out for 4 years straight without ever seeing any results. So then you're like, well, what the fuck am I doing this for? Like, it sucks to whatever, but the key is to keep pushing no matter what, to make it become part of your life, and to not think about the end process, but to get lost into the process. Like, don't think about the end destination, but just get lost into the process. And I don't know. And that's what I did. And then now I'm mentally healed because I healed my mental health issues, but I still have issues. Like, I feel like I almost have new issues now because I've gone through new problems. So, like, I went through this situation with, friends in the past where basically friends blamed me for things and that I didn't do. And it just, now I'm very hesitant to connect with people and friends. Now, that was fine right now anyways, because I need to work on myself, and I need to fix my own life, and I need to probably get a job, or maybe even get 2 jobs, and I need to start making money, and I need to relaunch my business, and I need to whatever. So I'm going to be focused on my thing, on these type of things for the next, 2-3 years anyways. But within these 2 to 3 to 5 years, there are some other things I do need to work on. But I healed my mental health, as in, I'm not self-harming just because I'm single and I'm alone. I live alone, but I never feel lonely. That is mentally healed. That I know that I have a lot of knowledge, but I know that I'm an idiot. And I could say that I'm stupid and I'm an idiot because I healed my mental health. But someone who has not healed their mental health should never say that they're stupid. They should never, what humans call, put themselves down, because I'm not putting myself down because I'm mentally healed. Like, if somebody said, I'm an idiot, they actually will probably mean it. I understand I'm not an idiot, but I am an idiot. It's a paradox. Like, I don't know. So, but I healed my mental health so I have a different perspective with things ever since I healed. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But just because I healed doesn't mean I'm not healing, because I healed my mental health issues. But like I said, when I started the shamanic journey, I never thought that there was going to be an end to it. I knew that it would last forever. When I started my healing journey, I knew there was no end to it. There's no end to any of these journeys. Like, so you're never going to make it. You just have to work on it for the rest of your life. So, like, if you get in shape, let's say you work out and you get in shape. If you stop working out, you're going to get out of shape. Like, let's say you went down the shamanic journey and, like, you did all these things. But if you stop going down the shamanic journey, you're going to get out of shamanic shape. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but if you meditate, or you used to meditate, if you stop meditating, eventually you're going to get out of mental shape. Like, you have to do these things for the rest of your life. They're just processes that must be adapted to life. That's what I've found. And that's why I could say that I'm healed, because I'm on the healing process for the rest of my life. And I've accepted that.